Gambling. America's favorite pastime. No, that's baseball. Well, if gambling isn't America's favorite pastime, then why the does this keep getting crammed down my throat? You see it on social media all the time these days, whether you're being subliminally brainwashed by RainBet sponsored content or directly psyoped by gambling girls. This pro-gambling propaganda, or pro-propagambla, is impossible to miss, which for me isn't so bad. Because firstly, I'm a grown-ass man. And secondly, I definitely don't have a gambling problem. I can quit whenever the f*** I want to, okay? Now watch me hit this jackpot. But you know who else is using the internet in an alarming amount? Children. As much as I would prefer for that not to be the case, there isn't really anything that I can do about it. At least, not yet. But until I finish my contraption that permanently bans all children off of the internet as a whole, I think that maybe it's time to stop enabling the hundreds of thousands of young gambling prodigies that we're beginning to raise. As much as it may surprise you, this stupid pastime that allows us to throw all of our life savings on black in one tap of a phone screen has actually been around for like almost forever. As long as there have been horses to race, dice to roll, or big beefy boys to bet your wages on, there has been a population interested in weighing the odds on a chance to turn one goat into 2 or 3. Gambling is one of mankind's oldest ways of entertaining itself and has remained the subject of much controversy for centuries. We have examples of gambling taking place throughout ancient Rome, China, Egypt. Due to religious, criminal, and moral reasons, gambling has historically had a hard time hitting the mainstream in America. Because you see, for the majority of the world, gambling is seen as somewhat of a no-no, with around 60 to 70% of the world having light to moderate gambling restrictions in place, with a further 20 to 30% of countries having heavy restrictions or full-on bans. And the United States is not free of this scrutiny of the craft. Utah has a full gambling ban, and Hawaii has a similar policy in place. There are restrictions in place for many reasons, mainly surrounding harm reduction in the form of reducing the ability for gambling addiction to take root in citizens. But you know what's more important than reducing the chance of addiction? Making the government a bag. Governments need to make money, and if we're talking lucrative business opportunities, then having the control of nearly the entire supply and demand of gambling institutions sure is up there in the New York Times list of top bag-getting methods. You may currently be wondering, since the government is still raking in money from my taxes, haven't they had their fill? Aren't they happy with all the money that they've milked out of me? Oh, you silly how stupid and wrong you are. You see, the government is eternally starving for your cash, and they will rob you of your hard-earned dollars. They never subside, and they never tire of grinding you down to a pulp. Which takes us to here and now, where gambling is accessible in the palm of your hands. How far we've come as a people. Now that we know about how gambling, the next obvious question would be, why gambling? And to that I say, science. Us human flesh bags love to win, but we also hate losing. When we do win, we get dopamine, and dopamine good. We like dopamine. Scientifically, we gamble faster the more we lose, because in our stupid little brains, we're thinking that the big win is right around the corner. Another contributing factor to this spamming of the literal or metaphorical slot machine lever are the near misses that we get. Oh, but the red gun was so close. We didn't get the red gun, but we did get a battle-scarred purple. And that's pretty good, right? That's the other way in which they get you, the little ones. It's a lot more likely and a lot cheaper for these gambling platforms to offer the user a smaller payout or a cheaper win, since to the player, a win is still a win. Dopamine is still dopamine. It may not be as insane as hitting the max win, but it certainly feels better than losing. And you know what they say about a little win, right? A small payout means you're about to hit it big. It's a sign that this machine is a winner. That means in 10 to 65 more pulls, you're gonna hit it big. These are the little lies that we tell ourselves, but once again, this is just another fun, silly, evil feature of gambling that is scientifically in place to milk you dry. Pause. Speaking of battle-scarred purples, we move now into my next incredible segment of gambling. That being within video games. Is nothing sacred anymore? No, nothing is. And quite frankly, nothing has been for quite some time. Gambling of some ilk being in your favorite video games is not exactly a new concept. When we talk about gambling within gaming, one of the first examples that will come to mind are loot boxes. For those of you living under a rock, loot boxes are a form of random item acquisition within a video game, oftentimes requiring real-life currency to be spent in order to open said loot box. This form of online gambling is incredibly common nowadays, with an estimated 40% of all gamers having partaken in loot boxes of some ilk in their lifetime. But where did this start? Who's the culprit? Well, when looking at the inclusion of loot boxes, or at least a form of randomized item acquisition in game, we've got to look at MapleStory. MapleStory is a game that I am maybe a little too familiar with, having played it since I was a little tiny man. Like a child, I started playing it when I was like 9. And for those of you who weren't bullied in elementary school, MapleStory is a free-to-play South Korean MMO developed by Nexon that is known mainly for two things. First, the grind. This is a very common aspect of a lot of Korean MMOs, with MapleStory being no exception. And second, driving players insane on a quest to becoming just a little more powerful than the next player, mainly through, you guessed it, gambling. When I was in elementary school, I would rush home after school every day to hop on the game. And man, you know I went crazy when it came to this game. Not really. I actually just got scammed by high-level players in the potion shop a lot. I don't really want to talk about that. I remember so vividly seeing all these cool-ass players who could afford the game's form of microtransaction currency, Nexon Cash, to swag their avatars out with. And you know I wanted that Metro haircut so bad, but alas, I was but a poor beginner noob. Along with stealing away hours of my youth, MapleStory has also stolen loads of money from unsuspecting gamers through the form of gachapon tickets. Named after the real-life gachapon machines found sprinkled oh so liberally throughout the land of the rising sun, these microtransaction tickets allow players to get a random item from an in-game gachapon machine. Items that players can receive range from useless trash to really fancy, cool-looking trash. Although this is often cited as the root of the online loot box epidemic, this certainly wasn't the end. FIFA, Overwatch, CSGO, even single-player games like Assassin's Creed Origins hopped on the bandwagon of gamer gambling. Today, it's nearly impossible to play any live service game without some form of loot box mechanic. Luckily, these items from loot boxes are just cosmetic, right? You don't have to buy them. It's not like it gives the player an actual advantage. Most of the time, you'd be correct. But then you have a look at gacha games. A genre of video games defined by the gachapon machines mentioned previously. The gameplay of the game may vary, but they all have one thing in common, and that thing is gambling. Gambling is the lifeblood of these games. In general, they're built around the player having a roster of characters to play with, and each character is ranked by rarity, often relating to how powerful each character is. For example, a 5-star or double S character is going to be harder to get than a 3-star character or a B rank character. The higher the rank of the character, the lower the odds you have of pulling them. For example, in Genshin Impact, you have wishing. So basically, you use the game's in-game currency, Primo Gems, to pull for new characters, and hopefully, you'll pull a rare, powerful one. And that's the basic premise when it comes to all gacha games. All gacha games are based around you, the player, spending money to pull for new characters in the game. Players want to improve their teams, so they spend money to get these new and powerful characters to make their teams better, and or in some cases, sexier, until they've become what the community likes to deem as a whale, or someone who invests drastic amounts of money into these games. People are spending so much real money on gacha games that they're developing nicknames to make fun of these spenders. That's the point that we're currently at. Another form of gambling that we can look at seems to be getting incredibly popular these days, and that form is card packs. You may think that this isn't gambling and is just part of a collection style hobby, which it absolutely can be, but a lot of people aren't doing this for the love of the game. They're doing it for the potential of bag acquisition through scalping the cards away from people that will actually use them for their intended purpose, playing and trading. In order to get a first-hand account of this pipeline to casino type hobby, I sat down with the most card addicted person I know, my friend Connor.
I need help. I told myself I was gonna stop buying cards, and then Kyle needed me to buy them for this video, so this is for him, not for me, just to make it clear.
You don't want to do this.
I don't want to do this. You're making me do this. Damn, I don't think I hit anything.
Looks cool.
Hi. Sorry, can I grab one more pack of Decim Rivals?
How much was that?
$13. Okay, no, this one's for you.
For me?
You need to experience opening
How do I do it?
like a bag of chips. Yeah.
Blue basic energy. Beldum. Can you say that? Is that allowed? Are any of these good? Am I getting
No.
Okay. Oh, this one's kind of shiny.
It's shiny. Okay. Okay. Is that the last card?
Yep.
Oh, nice. You didn't hit anything.
Fuck, bro. This wasn't fun at all. Why are you addicted to this?
Yeah, when this set came out, I was excited because there's some cards I like in it. So I bought 2 boxes of it. So 48 packs.
How much did that cost?
$3.50. I didn't hit any of the cards that I wanted, but I hit a card that was shiny and silver. It was a Monkey D. Luffy card. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I put it down. And then when I was done, I searched it up. I was like, oh, that's like 1.5 grand. I'll take $1,300 for a card. But yeah, it was very rare. I think the only other biggest hit I've hit is like a $200 card. So 2 $300 cards, but that's pretty rare. So don't buy packs, buy singles. That's a strat.
Another form of pseudo-gambling that's taking place constantly these days is through the form of blind boxes. And how can we ever dream of talking about blind boxes without mentioning the performative male holy grail that is the labubu? I can't wait to go home and read some Sylvia Plath. Oh hey, didn't see you there. Sorry, I figured that I had to get into uniform for this next segment. Labubus are the current craze that have taken over the internet, and in my opinion, they are also the stupidest one. It's not very good. This was $10. Collecting little stupid furry to make a bag is by no means a new concept, as the LeBron of the toy world, Ty Warner, had been pumping out Beanie Babies since the 90s. People bought these stupid little babies for like $5 a pop, with some of them being sold secondhand for like tens of thousands of dollars. But you know what the main difference between Labubus and Beanie Babies are? Yeah, you guessed it. It's gambling. Again. Where you could walk into a store and buy whatever Beanie Babies were available at the time, knowing its inherent worth right off the bat, Labubus are being sold with a blind box gambling style ingrained in its formula. You get a box, and on the side of the box, you see right away which versions of said Labubu you can pull. This means that there should be a 1 in 6 chance of getting whichever color of little stupid fur thing that you may want, correct? Wrong. It's actually a bit more complicated than that, because besides the 6 normal ones you can possibly pull, there's also a reduced odd chance of pulling a rare one. With chances of getting these little rare fuckers being as low as 1 in 144, these ultra epic rare Labubus are incredible. For example, they might be brown color, or gray color, or even better, brown color, but sitting down. You know what? Maybe I was wrong. These little guys actually are pretty cool. I think I get it now. It is designed to give you a big old shot of dopamine as soon as you open the box and reveal to yourself what labubu you dumb pulled. And if I don't get what color creature I wanted the most, you know I'm buying 3 more boxes just to make sure that I get Dada. Cause I already have Cece and Baba, and I do not want Cuckoo. That's gambling, baby. You're spending $50 for the chance to get a fuzzy keychain that you might like. Then again, there are those against calling this form of gluttonous, overindulgent item acquisition gambling. Just look at what the reputable website labubucollector.com has to say. If you're like me or many other fanatic collectors, the chase is what makes it fun. Some critics even say it's bad, and it like gambling and causing people to waste thousands of dollars, but I think that is a full of crap. Anyone can say something negative about anything. Blind boxes create excitement and is what makes collecting Labubu fun. Beautifully put, labubucollector.com. It is what makes collecting Labubu fun. And you know who else thinks collecting Labubu fun? The most gambling addicted man that I know, my good friend Connor.
We're here on the streets of Japan opening a labubu. Watch it be fake. I spent a lot of money on this. Yo.
Damn.
It's gray. I don't know what I wanted. These things are ugly and I spent a lot of money on it.
Ugly gray rat.
People pay a lot of money for these. I'm cool now. Bye.
Bye, Connor. And thanks. Also, Connor got me my very own labubu. Let's crack right into it. It's a 1 in 168 chance of getting the super ultra rare. Am I gonna get it? I got the pink one. I feel the exact same. I don't feel any different. This was a very kind gift from my friend Connor. Thank you, Connor. This is going on my bookshelf.
It seems like gambling is almost impossible to avoid these days. It's in our movies, it's in our video games, and now it's on our phone screens. Everything gets made drastically more complicated and dangerous as we begin to discuss our next topic. I'm going to put the book down. Gambling influencers are today's biggest blight when it comes to getting these young, easily influenced children and adults into the potentially life-ruining hobby of gambling. You know what I'm talking about, right? People who are getting paid directly by these big gambling websites in order to promote their platform as being a great way to invest your money, and certainly not a one-way ticket to financial ruin. In terms of these influencers, there are levels to their promotion of gambling. First off, we have the bane of my existence and the reason in which I made this video in the first place, which is the indirectly sponsored content that is littered throughout the social media landscape these days. These are those random reels or TikToks that you see which will have a little rain bet sticker at the bottom of their post in order to subliminally influence people to come and gamble on their sites, I guess. These are so stupid. Why the hell is there an ad for a gambling site on my Russian car crash compilation? One piece of brain-rotting content at a time, please. Next up, we have gacha/loot box creators. These are people who play games that are heavily focused around gambling and draw in huge crowds of viewers that are going to see them win or lose money. Although they maybe aren't directly getting paid by these games or websites, they're still glamorizing the act, and in my opinion, should be a little more conscious of the potential harm in which they are inflicting on the viewer base. And finally, we have the directly sponsored by gambling gambler streamers. Now, these guys are the real villains throughout all of this. These are the people who are getting paid by companies like RainBet in order to make their website look too good not to gamble on. Oh, so you're telling me that this guy just doubled his paycheck by gambling on Blackjack VR? And it was that easy? Sign me up, man. May as well gamble my son's college tuition away. And don't even get me started on the gambling girls. If the US Army can't get my ass with this PSYOP bullshit, I am not falling for the same old scheme being done again with gambling. People are stupid, and advertisers are quite aware of this fact. They know that the more that we see other people win, the more we think that we will win. The more that we see other people lose, the more we think that we can do better and win instead. This is exactly why there are restrictions in place to protect the people. But as advertising for gambling increases and people gambling on the VR headsets behind the wheel become more prevalent, the more I begin to worry about the future that we're moving towards. Back in 2018, the US Supreme Court overruled the federal sports betting ban, and it has since been nothing but a boon for American citizens across the nation. Just kidding, they've lost like an insane amount of money since then. Some sources online state that Americans have gambled over $100 billion on sports betting alone since 2018. Are these numbers accurate? I don't know, man. I'm just some guy in front of a camera. But I do know that they sure have lost a lot of bread. With this much money being lost just through sports betting alone since 2018, you can only imagine the amount of money being lost through other gambling avenues, and it's only getting worse. The amount of these advertisements for gambling that we're seeing these days are insane. For something that has ruined countless lives over the years, it's shocking how normalized these advertisements are becoming. We need to understand that, unfortunately, a lot of the people that are watching this are children. Studies show that a huge portion of Twitch's viewer base sits between the ages of 16 and 24, that being around 40% of the overall viewer base. But that doesn't even account for people under the age of 16. We don't even have the specific numbers for this. But let's be honest, kids under 16 are certainly consuming this content, and I know this for a fact. Because 1, I have a direct family member under the age of 16 who is constantly quoting Kai Cenat and XQC clips at me. Secondly, I was a kid once, and you know what I absolutely took part in? Loot boxes. I was opening up CSGO cases in high school. I never once got anything good, so they could never sink their claws into me. Like, what if I had pulled something rare? If I had pulled a knife at 15 years old, they probably would have made a lifelong gambler in me. I mean, it would be really cool to get a knife. Like, I've never pulled one before, like just one time. It'd be kind of cool. Well, you see, it's actually good that I didn't get anything because it just proves my point. Loot boxes are never worth it unless... Listen, I'm literally just some guy. I've made my fair share of mistakes. I've dabbled in the occasional vice here and there. I have no right to be sitting on a high horse claiming to be some moral authority on gambling by any means. Just like drinking alcohol, eating junk food, or smoking crack, gambling is an activity that can quickly spiral out of control and end up becoming an addiction. At the end of the day, the name of the game is moderation. Everything in life should be done in moderation, including overdoing it. Because brother, on special occasions, sometimes a man needs to crush 3 back-to-back Krispy Kreme donuts and then follow that up with another 3 back-to-back Krispy Kreme donuts. Gambling can be a fun activity as long as the gambler is going into it with the correct mindset. They are not a literal child swiping mommy's credit card for a hot Genshin waifu. And yeah, also knowing that you're probably gonna walk out of there with less money than you walked in with. Anything aside from losing money on gambling should be viewed as a miracle and not the norm. All I'm saying is that we should be viewing this stuff through the lens of harm reduction as opposed to harm prevention. Because the only thing that preventing me from gambling is gonna harm is my son. Because daddy gets a little punchy when he can't bet on the ponies. I just recently moved into a new apartment. I've been getting settled in here, but new videos will be coming soon. Stay tuned. Make sure to follow the Instagram. Make sure to follow the Twitch. I finally have internet after not for like 3 weeks, so I'll be doing a little secret stream coming up here to test my internet and see if it works at all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon.